Namo Guru Me Namo Bidaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Me Namo Bidaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Me Namo Bidaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Kan de lai jie guen jie do ga rai gai zhuo zang bo de chun zhen chen jie ya bo guen jie lo zang zha se na jie ma ni li xie zong zong de jie na ga se jie be chen se ma ma jie be zong ga jie dai lo de be se na xian zhuan du de ma ye jie ye ya rai zhuo zuo xie jie zhe ge jai ve lo zhe de zong ma ve ye yu de xie tai be de ye lai me de me tai de de me de lai ja ye wo che ye na zo me do da che je do me na ze de ja zo wo zhan ye de che de ya zo de se ma xian zhuan che la che ma me kan xian doi me de ne sai ma ye le ma ye ye me ye che ye ma che ma la doi ma so ye me de jo ni ne ye ma ta be so ni me de ma de ro la ze che ye ma be da wa me ya da ya
Sanje Shedon
sa ye jono la ya jo ban do da ne ja zo da ge chu yuan ye bian zo nan ye do la ben je san ye do ba la jo
Sanje
che da zo ye jono la ya jo ban do da ne ja zo ji da ge chu yuan ye bian zo nan ye do la ben je san ye do ba la jo
Sanje Shedon
da ge chu yuan ye bian zo nan ye do la ben je san ye do ba la jo
剩下到这都是老人这样的，做不所以和我什么之类的，他们是第一些的，他们学生呢，工作小就是这么岁数才当的什么学生。
Let me remind all of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived altruistic or bodhicitta motivation, we should participate in this discourse on Bodhisattva's way of life.
到底可是群众的对，他可是怎么咱们这写的，可是主要就是听众主要就是呢，主要就是的，你天嘛出现这些的，主要阶段这不的个，我这里嘛在学的是。
So last week we talked about the significance of doing what we called Tsombar Tamchawa, or the pledge of composition, and also we did talk a little bit about taking delight in composing or authoring this text of the discourse, and also how the great Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva, he expresses his humility or humbleness, through his own expressions of, composing this text. So we'll continue our, teaching from there.
我这开始看了，恐怕这的提说是一小脚那些定的业务来，去来过去空的学不上。 是的，忙的没当呢，得了那位，number 多么的，得了，生锈就学什么道路是，可是他，那时候咱们的规划开始说呀，上学生，我这吧都是，可是没有空，没有东亚的，可是他这吧是其中他比较可见。 상제 고바타와 티바도 고바도 티레시도 잠버레스 다가 나시 다디 깨와냐 바세야데 에데 피글로도 냐바 온 연데 냐바테 다 케바스도 고바디 티데르 펜도 티도 펜도도 될 엔타다 주시셔모텔 토스무시 조 세메도 고고는 냠슬라 엔데 상제 고바야 타서자 제가 러시니 갈 때에데 티데 고바 지에서 호텔 쪼아지와 있어야돼 我接当时的我的，可是得了点的，可是三节过我做了，都到12点的这些。但得了，但头到的了，但下午都开始说呢，这是我的，我们现在，大多数你们都开始用的，我们可没有说帮啊要的，我的帮啊因为的大的定义的业务多来的话，我的什么考啊空说呢？ 我这个得了什么都这是，现在这是的帮有的上级吧，主要有现在我们他这边呢，这小伙的你们多少或者的我也是就是穷主要的我是偏小，可是上不东西那还苦是吧？他没有说的他的，我是给他苦我们的穷主要有时候，那个没有说有的是别主当的时候都是现在。 那上街主当在这住过是吧？我这什么恐惧有我的那个电影子就我多少电呢？我的控制不太行，你说的这是。
Those of you who are using the same English translation as I do here, we are at the bottom of page 3. Stanza 3 reads, for due to acquaintance with what is wholesome, the force of my faith may for a short while increase because of these words. If, however, these words are seen by others equal in fortune to myself, it may be meaningful for them, unquote. So explanation given on that is, and this stanza highlights the purpose of composing this text called A Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So great Shantideva is basically stating that the reason why I have composed or authored this text is twofold. Number one, that I would like to acquaint or familiarize my own mind with bodhicitta or bodhisattva's attitude and enhance it to the great extent possible. So I would like to engage in the 6 perfections and bring them to the fruition so that my final goal is to achieve complete enlightenment or Buddhahood for the benefit of all others. Right? That is the real purpose behind authoring this text. As I pursue this kind of authoring, in the meantime, others who are in equal fortune with myself, who have the same merit and fortune as myself, or whose understanding is equal to mine. And as we discussed this before, Shantideva is saying basically, I have not written this for the experts, who are trying to, find, some new things, or that who are trying to find poetry skill or anything like that. But those who are fortunate and equal to myself, or whose, understanding is at my level, so they too might, feel benefited by this work. So as Geshe explained, that the reason why any of us could really generate bodhicitta, engage in the 6 perfections, and strive for enlightenment is because the afflictive emotions or delusions such as attachment, anger, and all others, now they could be uprooted or eliminated. I think based on our own experience, if we have never tried it, that's a different storyline. But if we have tried it, I think we can also understand and feel that we can decrease or minimize attachment, anger, and other afflictive emotions, although we have not yet experienced what it means to be free of all these afflictive emotions, right? But we can understand that these afflictive emotions can be decreased, based on our own experiences. And so because they can be decreased, then we can use the logical reasoning that if this something can be decreased, then there is a possibility that we can uproot them. We can get rid of them completely. And so when we get rid of them, this is how we are able to find liberation and enlightenment. And as is stated in the Samadhi Raja Sutra, or the King of Concentration Sutra, Tenzin Dorjee, that our mind, if it is familiarized or habituated with anything, right, it really gets habituated, good or bad. So if we learn to habituate our mind with a positive thinking and a positive state of mind, such as developing bodhicitta, enhancing it, our mind is very much capable of being habituated in that, and through that kind of a process we can find a complete enlightened state, which is the final purpose of composing this text.
What is cause kumya yubdi ta sim kumya yub kong de deshe ta de la gism de la ya de da yes teve cause shuk pe shi junju kon zawa de zero zawa de teve shuk pe se de cause na 지단의 가지고 가가리 지나 대박 가지고 다시 공도 인자 되게 샤네 대박이 무슨 왜 지단의 대박 지고 세마다 대소가 가가 되네마 가가 직발했어. 어디 뭐이라 들라양 톱제윤 다 대바지디 가제지레서는 대바들 민다 다 gond도에 대바세 당에 대바서 이제 대바송도 와 세다 대스 gond도에 대바서는 소소 요데 동도 예리야 다 장주습 줄제도 사이도 사지고 도도 사야 되는데 는 gond도에 대바세 제 다다다 접자에 소송을 잡도 줘야서 이제 해야 되라 대저와 당에 대바세지 다 디게 대바세네 디게 상시 송소바 랑도르데라 렌델 이시 시아랑뇽스 이시 해야 되라 아니 가서 이제 대바세 지다 대바들 맨다 리도 소요리시
So as we can find literally written in the stanza number 3, for due to acquaintance with what is wholesome, the force of my faith may for a short while increase. The force of the faith. So the faith or the Deva in Tibetan is explicitly mentioned here. Of course, by habituating our mind with that which is wholesome or positive, of course we can cultivate and enhance any kind of positive qualities. But among many positive qualities, faith or Deva is mentioned. The reason for that is in many authentic texts, it is mentioned that faith precedes, accomplishing other qualities. That means faith is something that comes ahead, and due to which, by its power, that we're able to acquire and cultivate other qualities. And so, as I mentioned the other day also, that faith can be thought of in terms of 3 different types. One is we called aspiring faith or Deva, which means we aspire to generate bodhicitta, bodhisattva's state of mind. We aspire to become enlightened being for the sake of others, right? We aspire to engage in the 6 perfections. So that kind of a faith is called aspiring faith. Then there is what we call Dhamma, clear faith. This is a faith, in the sense that when we look at Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and the Gurus and appreciate their qualities, we really admire their qualities. So this kind of faith is in the form of admiration or appreciation there. Yeah? And so when we appreciate, admire their qualities, we feel inspired, right, to follow their footsteps. And then the third kind of faith is called faith as a trust, Yishe, which means that now based upon the teaching of Buddha, that Buddha's teaching is infallible, especially when we think in terms of law of karmic action and result, right? Do good, have good, do bad, have bad, or that what needs to be abandoned, what we must not do, and what we should do and adopt, the practice of abandonment and cultivation, Langtor in Tibetan. Okay? So when we completely trust that Buddha's teaching and follow it, that kind of a trust is in the form of a faith. So those 3 types of faith make a difference in terms of our study and practice and spiritual development. So in the actual stanza at the bottom of page 3, it mentions how acquainting or habituating our mind with that which is positive or wholesome can increase or generate the force of faith, right? And the faith will increase. Implicitly, what that means is that by the power of the faith, that we will also be able to cultivate other perfections as well, the 6 perfections, and so all the other qualities, that help us to advance in our practice of the six perfections, such as mindfulness, tempa, such as enthusiasm, jundu, or the joy, such as concentration, tingizin, right? Through these qualities, we are able to advance in our six perfections, and when we bring them to the fruition, complete, this is where we achieve complete enlightened state or Buddhahood. So that particular stanza, number 3 at the bottom of page 3, it really highlights the purpose of composing this text is twofold. For my own benefit, Shantideva is saying that I would like to habituate my mind with bodhicitta and develop it to the greatest extent possible, engage in all the six perfections to the completion stage, and I want to become Buddha, enlightened being for the sake of others. So he's taking joy in that. I'm able to do this, right, through this process. And also, this work that I have produced, it also benefit others as well. And he's taking joy in that, those who are equal in fortune with me, right? Fortune could be translated in terms of those have the same, inclination, Mahayana inclination, spiritual inclination, just like as I do. They too can, habituate their mind with bodhicitta and cultivate the six perfections, and they too can achieve complete enlightened state. So therefore, this work I have produced is purposeful or meaningful because it benefits both self and others, in those ways.
我的大了这个现在上把大了没下去，现在让这个讲不是养这里把有影响是吧？我这个现在国外看看来的话，我第一种。
Nice. So the explanation given pertains to what you find stated in stanza number 2 and stanza number 3. Earlier, in the stanza number 2, Shantideva said, I quote, there is nothing here that has not been explained before, and I have no skill in the art of rhetoric. Therefore, lacking any intention to benefit others, I wrote this in order to acquaint it to my mind. You know, if you go literally, it says lacking any intention to benefit others, looks like, you know, he has no intention whatsoever to benefit others. But that's not the meaning of that statement. What that really means is, according to the commentary, is Shantideva, you know, by that statement, what he meant is that, you know, he has not written this work out of big ego. You know, it looks like, I am here telling you that you have never heard anything before. Nobody has ever said this Bodhisattva's way of life, you know, and I'm going to do it, right? And I have this big expectation to benefit, you know, many beings like that. So he's not really composing this out of that big ego that I am here, I'm doing this, you know. So he's, you know, that is the meaning of that, lacking any intention to benefit others. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care about sentient beings that has not. Because the next following stanza, you know, where he has clearly stated that, you know, he wrote this for two reasons. To acquaint his own mind with bodhicitta and the six perfections and achieve enlightenment for others. And those who are equal in fortune to himself, they too can do the same thing. So he really, you know, intends to benefit others, right? That's his wish. So therefore, you know, otherwise we might think that there is a contradiction here, right? Earlier he said, I'm lacking any intention to benefit others, and then later he said, you know, those equal in fortune to me too will be benefited by this work.
Toma rangil de so pel watam. Tene henla pembaran jo so. Khan samja rani teju zobalas toaji ribata. Da xin ta jang toaji ne ju ribe tongji de juba was. O di toaji ribata karas ne taide and les shot bit. Sije de sanji ko bata li tonda tene teju shebo jo sita tejo na o tile den ene ko toaji wugres. So le simje heda de so la en dia sanji ko bata ya tabla me de ja o ti toaji rigres. Tonda shoulders sino de den is what.
So the bottom line is that the stanza number 3 at the end of page 3, it really gives us the purpose behind Bodhisattva Shantideva's composing this guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life. So he is taking delight, right, joy in his own work, and for two reasons, as we said. First he will emphasize his own habituation with bodhicitta, six perfections, and achieving enlightenment, right? Because this is like, the order of practice. First you want to change yourself, transform, and, be all the things that you are telling others, so to speak, right, to be. And the second one is that those who are equal in fortune to himself, right, who have the same spiritual inclination of Mahayana, or Bodhisattva's way of life, they too can do the same thing, because he has presented in this text, the complete practice, that required, essential to achieve complete enlightenment. So therefore, he has every reason to take joy and delight, in the work that he has produced.
What they go, Roger Pepe Gova used them and did danger you go about the Nigutaba in the Goso she, this she Jela Goso Yuvatamba and Della Shenda Juga Tondu, Temba in base, Deja Shenda Pembe, Roy Yuvateba, Shiva shows, and Donna Tada Rondo Yes, Lundo To Numba Nam, and the Shun de Mugula 先听之前所以同的门之样，这给你们天天说了是偏不同的，就是一点不一样，是我这个大孩是，对不着，他第一次同着就能我是的抓阄，他那这开始修的是对不着，孩是。让现在偏不国外家是不有为因啥？第一就是国外电过了，国外电为因啥？那个这就是国外有为在尼国的，就是的这些个用过是吧？我介绍的，人家的，可是国这个现在的怎么他就可能多少的，现在的抓紧的呢嘛，我说是的嘛，现在这个人是吧？的，这个人是，可是。让人别个为，这就国外的尼国的嘛，因为我说这些吧，人这拉说这些那了，这啥个这出这些。我说有个的嘛，这啦现在就被同的吧，因为这些现在变变，绕有个的嘛，些不少哦，都能知道个让到去，龙头到把到那。可是隆冬到那么那兄弟对没过了，先看这件所有同的门就样，给完年他们这边那都说了特别同的是，就是些点吧，可是就是些点吧，我说那地里可是，就当我说学给的呢。过年现在怎么同学啊？龙溪都对那怎么啥些那些我说吧，你那嘛像那这个，好像你学学和我说是一直到，他过来，说在这做的下这个电脑嘛都，现在你学学的时候，你也刚刚这个我说是这电话了，这就怎么的就刚刚电话说的，这个人是，但现在刚刚这个人对了，那了现在就对吧？他。现在就会投的人把他说的培养个，在这个时候在那投的小的时候的，上届说什么龙个通，那上届的恐怕的，可是上届咱们家长这个，那也是希望那可能投出去的，那把那没意思啊，投的体力个是，是吧？龙一都对了，希望是老是吧？对，这国外的了呀，那。这龙头先一摘完了，这没个吧，说说别呀，我们那么走了，快要嘛这些。你要看见刚才现在买烟的呀，别俺这全部这么的人呢，在那边都没这些。但说说高年吧，这些我说说那个我这些，这高年吧，现在我这些，那我你有时候的等是他的修了，那好像上一个的，可是上一个的。可是甚至到这把西路上那这个的，但上去恐怕他咱们家长的开始看到一嘛大家，那龙那些投资去说下去，修了我的点过的是。
So Geshe-la's explanation is how, before we said that the four what called features of a meaningful discourse or treatise. In Tibetan, right, which means there should be a purpose, right, behind writing a work or a treatise, and innermost purpose or the ultimate purpose there should be, and then it should have a content, meaningful substance, jeja, and then all those three things must be cohesively interrelated to each other, right, they're dependent, delva. Yeah, so those things earlier we explained, with regard to the pledge of composition that is captured in the 1b, which is not a stanza, by the way, on page 3, where Shantideva said, "Here I shall explain how to engage in the vows of the Buddha's sons, Buddha's children, the meaning of which I have condensed in accordance with the scriptures," right? That's where those four things are explained. But according to some commentators, they said those four features could also very well be explained, relating to the stanza number 3, and because the purpose of writing this text is to acquaint his own mind with bodhicitta and further it and complete the 6 perfections and be enlightened, right? then also those who are equal in fortune to him can also experience the same purpose. The ultimate purpose of this is that both self and others can eventually become enlightened beings or Buddhas. But to be able to become enlightened, we have to cultivate the complete Bodhisattva's way of life or path, which is the subject matter or the content, substance of this text. Right? That is right. So that content is very much dependent upon, related to, I should say, cohesively related to understanding this discourse purpose and also fulfilling the ultimate purpose, that is achieving enlightenment. Okay? And as Geshe said, that those four features of a text could be explained everywhere actually. If you are a very sharp-minded person, you could have understood that from the very salutation, the opening stanza of the text. Or those four could be understood or explained with regard to the pledge of composition, which we did. Those four features of a text could also be explained with regard to what is stated in the stanza number 3. And so as Geshe explained it more. So what Shantideva is saying, he said that it's, I have nothing new to say, but what I have done is I have in a very condensed form presented what Buddha has already taught. Right, that's in 1b. So with that, the actual meaning of that is Shantideva is basically telling us that I have internalized the complete teaching of the Buddha and I'm presented in a very condensed form. So this is not meant for those very experts and scholars who have very sharp mind, because they can, he didn't say that, by footnote read for themselves. But I did this for people who would appreciate this kind of a condensed form of a discourse through which they can more conveniently understand the complete path of Bodhisattvas to enlightenment. Then I have written this for those who are equal in fortune to me, those who are not like so much full of inflated ego, I know it all, have you got anything new to tell me? He said, not for them I have written it, but I have written it for those who are equal in fortune to me, who share the same spiritual interests and inclinations, and who are interested to cultivate bodhicitta, practice the 6 perfections, and be enlightened for the benefit of others. For those reasons, I have composed this text. Okay. So this whole guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life or any other text, we could be kind of framed or presented under 3 main outlines. Number 1 would be what we call the introduction, or in modern language, or preliminaries in traditional language, and then the actual text, which is the Mueshi, and then the conclusion, isn't it? So if we follow those 3 outlines, introduction, body, and conclusion, modern version, or the preliminaries, the actual body of the text, and the conclusion, we have just completed talking about the preliminaries or introduction. So basically salutation, Chöje, and the pledge of composition, Tsompa Tamchaba, and taking joy in composing this work. And so now we are going to move into the next phase. Nice.
Tene liu tangpo somdang, ngoe liu jimbas. Liu shibata ngawe sudrim chukbaso, liu chukbaso shi paji lakma shete, chiba chindu da. Juk kaji chenpe sha da som ye se, teju ye liu dewa she do se. Gaje da deri. Liu to nangze so de ma she de da dor de na karsa dejo ngon do she go chi dejo ran ye she ba de de she en jo ka di zo de ba she de na da du do zo so na ma du is so.
Nice. According to a master called Nakucheba, maybe Krishnapada or something, I'm not sure about the Sanskrit name, but anyway, Nakucheba, a master, he said, well, this text could be presented under three outlines. Number one is again preliminaries, which would include salutation and pleasure composition, taking joy, and then the actual body of the text, which could present the like specific topics discovered or dealt with in this particular text, right? First, there's a general presentation, then there's a specific presentation, and then the conclusion, the last part, right? The summary. Yes.
Liu chukba shiba shinu dan chukka di se so deshe ta ngon de liu tangpo somji shuji so simji den ne se jimba sha du den be tong de she go se ta nabo che tel tan di dewa zo khon dewa de jimba de sha dung re mo ji de zo de simji sha re s di ta di dewa sang be khon she ba che. Lobo ye la se do ta di ya re chuju tomar gya tene goe par gya se ngoa taba gya de yo som ye se de ju de she la se de da lobo ye la se don do shu do tomar gya par gya tomar gya sandan ene te ju goju ka ka tene de is.
Nice. So according to this master Nakucheba, he says that of course the central theme of this discourse is generating bodhicitta, right? And related to that, it talks about six perfections, and generosity is kind of explained, in by the way kind of thing. That's his kind of a take on that. But another master called Kyawala, he said, well, this is also presented under three outlines, but he makes it very easy. The three outlines are virtuous beginning, virtuous middle, virtuous ending, right? The beginning is virtuous, and the middle one is virtuous, and what is virtuous in the middle, what is virtuous at the end? He said, so under those Thokda Parsumla Keva, virtuous beginning, middle, and end, under those outlines, this text could be explained.
O deshi karsa Yangaraba ka gaji ke sikji thambo nyingye tenjur chu minzeba nyingbo linggo ba dam tene semji peyon liu thambo tene semji di nipa sumba tene laba sungju liu shiba te ngabe tene labje rashi shinu ki thambo nyi liu amang ngala tene to sheba so shi liu sulu so hi teba song so se lobu namna tenjon deni sheba ni peyon song la shinjung de gele ele shedat semo shezo peyon temba hejing bibita de peyon je pejir ke se tenjor so tsiki tabu nyen ji chawju se de semji den temba song be se There's Basumba, Ruba Sumbe, they take Shala, started my Dom Yada to the Bombo to the Tina, that only Karsi is teaching his water. Karsa. The Narava Kajikasita, poor Naravata, Jandate zone of Ibra. Naravu Gajik and the Tiji Taboni, Tenjo, Chumasa, the Tenjo, the City of Casetema. Shida se wo ra te no se ti je o ti yin se wo o te karsa Nimbole Goba Dams. Then the same Jib Pio Lu Tobo, then that Simji Pio Lu Tobo, then Jiwashi. That same Jizu Yiba to Sumbe dance, Lu Dishada the Lu Dits. So Lavasu de Lu Shiba the Gabete, Labje Rashi, Shidu Lu Among Altene, to Service. En Lusu, she never song so sa. Or the tapu that the Diripu, not about Chidusana or the Goshi Jadanta, the Gave last year, so there's ya Gezere, or she Tadaji. That you don't take it there, you try that is the Jedwa, the Karachi doa, take it is your told that the Gagamajam to breeze doa. But the Karachi is the Magic body. The Karsa. Karsa, Lavas, he lose about then. Labjero, you do then, Service, he lose or there so. Low Namnazi, Namnasa, that the Namnas in the machine. Tejo did she have any payment song loss. Shunjungda, Gele, she that's so payment double hedgings, Bibuta, the project page, Tejo so. See double Shanju same dead number song be river sober, dead chala. Tala, there, 60 remember Louis ten Tenjo Ni Kawa Tangs, Sabete, Yellow Jogo, Ni Tenos. That is because ya Dom Josi Gagashin was in Tada de Pur Nama schedule, see it, Tombo Tigi Tejo Yigate, the Nibati, Simden, Gizum Jonga, there, this Jonga dance. That table you take charge you sing payment to the Gota. Payment dance at Kayi Tejo Tonje to the payment dance, the Tejo Tonje Nika said, Tejo Tom the corner payments mother. Charges say payment Kaitang over. Tanda the charges say payment there with the charges of payment to Joe Martin mother. Tejo Tonje Nika in the car. The Chitatsim to say I did the Gizm Joga, Shaju sing Payon Kai Marwa.
No.
The wonder to
No.
So the ticket ya lost shit. This Shaju say with 10 ya shit. That it didn't see in the Aja di Lama Denema in Payon goes to Insula. Does it live Tombo Digi Payon lives? Send the Zoro.
No. So it's the different masters have different way of how should I say if we will standpoint on presenting this text. I mean, we mentioned some of the names already before, and so according to we call Pyoengaraba, early Tibetan masters. That's what we lump them together. You know, there's no name, and so for them, if you look on page 4, so stanza number 4 on the top, which deals with you know the fully endowed human form, precious human life with enriching and freedom factors, right? So some of them said, well, that's starts with the benefits of cultivating bodhicitta right from there. Okay, then let's go into specific things. For example, like chapter 2 and 3, you know, they said that really deals with cultivating bodhicitta, and then chapter 4 deals with you know the what called advice concerning Bodhisattva's way of life and the remaining patience and so forth. So that's one way of presenting it, you know. But then other master like Namnang, Geshe said he doesn't know who this master is, the Tibetan name I use, I don't know the Sanskrit name either. And so for him, he thinks that stanza number 4, which deals with fully endowed you know, human form, it really doesn't reflect the benefits of cultivating bodhicitta. It really talks about the benefits of having a fully endowed human form, you know. But then you go through the subsequent stanzas, then you started to see the benefit of cultivating bodhicitta. By the way, the whole chapter number 1 is called Semje Penye, the benefits of the awakening mind or bodhicitta. Now within these stanzas, right, different masters have different take on, right, which deals with just the benefits of fully endowed human form, or where the benefits of the bodhicitta development starts. So those are the different scholarly, if you will, take on these things. So those are the details in Geshe-la's commentary.
This was Juju. The desert Nigata in a Shidab the 60 Korotenjo Muji, Yelata Moji, Joshua Shavomara, Joshua Shansin, Shidula, Shagava.
No.
Said that this on the in Titan 60 Tomonida, and the Chansin, they are Simdenda, Sugar Ludes Simdeni, then rest. And Muji did my Dimenzeli in Payment dimension go to race.
No.
But the Takoje that the teacher did hit Nivaka said that Chida Tabu said he's 60 need any car saver that dig. Montrose or take that shows them.
So we are on page 4, right on the top, stanzas 4 and 5. Let me read them for people who don't have English translation textbook under their nose, so to speak. Leisure and endowments are very hard to find, and since they accomplish what is meaningful for human, if I do not take advantage of them now, how will such a perfect opportunity come about again? Just as a flash of lightning on a dark, cloudy night for an instant brightly illuminates all, likewise in this world, through the might of Buddha, through the power of Buddha, a wholesome thought rarely and briefly appears. So those two stanzas, right, according to many scholars say, they really don't reflect directly the benefits of cultivating bodhicitta or awakening mind, but these are kind of highlighting the preliminaries to preparing us, orienting us towards the benefits of bodhicitta. Because the first stanza, number 4, leisures and endowments are very hard to find, that stanza really highlights the importance of physical basis, right? That is really so crucial for developing bodhicitta. In other words, fully endowed human form is a suitable physical basis for cultivating bodhicitta. So that's what this really highlights. And then the next stanza, number 5, which starts with just as a flash of lightning on dark cloudy night, that really highlights the importance of a mental basis, right, for cultivating bodhicitta. So basically stanza 4 and 5 highlight the importance of physical basis and mental basis for cultivating bodhicitta. They do not necessarily reflect the benefits of bodhicitta, what bodhicitta is,
Well, the Garza Monji, the Juxi Shiver, Shannon Thomas, Shazim Jeva La, the tea Pelton going, Tiji, show the mercy. Drop here, Liu Tongbo, Pinyote. Then the same Jeva La, Gaden, the Washawa, the 2 years saw somebody, and the Shazim soon go, but didn't you remember the Liu Nibada, Sumbetes, the Shalu da. 乔就是生命中这些，生间的生日什么准备是十九万六九节多吧是，等十扎多吧年来是，当不这些呢，就把那没牛些浪多些套索朋友开始就。 流行的朋友的啥东西不是？他的主要的政府可能西边讲的，他国家讲的得讲我的。这么现在这啥？朋友碰他考试，讲的可那个考试那考试，国外没的那个的飞机如嘛是吧？我这是我的。中国个几个人，你国外的个就是的，这个同胞的国外的个也是。而且。 最近就没有照片的，第头部培养的小的，培养的人点过来的，可是呢，但 tell ya, show you simply ya, in 2000 that Chinduta, and the tell Julia Gumdu to Gaga, the correct payment, some of the tea tones you near was a tombo payment is. Then the civil and Geshe Divasha, to your source of an eat Samsung or what is it, the Jada, anything there is, show you some Liu some daughter, but the Liu. Liu Chu, Geshe Gyeltsen. Simply in the Shanshi Buddha, in the Shi Java Lujitor Toba, the Shita Toba Yele, Tombu on the Shane, Shiva Manima, Petting, Langdor, Shave Tausu, Poyu, Shago, Poyu days, or that Geshe Gyeltsen the day that. Tombo Peo then was a Chawakari in the Peo model till Juma is. That Peo Tanya Yaka said, the Peo Tan Shadusabel Judula, the Chadus and Kendu, she was Shadus and Kivala in the Telea, Gages Divajuma, the Twinja sauce of a Nigo, or Tinchi at the Telia Disha, and the Shadus and Lu Yin Tennis. That the Poyu to Tobuchidan. Poyu said because you took Cardinal on the Poyu said, and two young Lamora. But this is not she. That deep somewhere and shows you some Geshe Divasha, 10 years source of a knee, the Shalu said that shows you some Sungu Lucia or Lu Yi to Stemmies or give that. That Lu Somdo, Daisy.
So as Geshe explained that the chapter 1 is labeled as the benefits of the awakening mind or benefits of bodhicitta, altruistic mind of enlightenment. And the reason for that is for us, before we start to do anything, we would like to know, what is, why should I do it, right? What's the purpose? Right? Is there any benefit? Right? That's obviously, if you don't see any benefit, nobody's going to start doing anything, because what's the point of doing that? So for that reason, when we see the benefits of doing something, then we get more interested and inspired. So for that reason, the benefits of bodhicitta development are presented first, right? So that we feel inspired and we feel attracted to the Bodhisattva's a way of life, right? That's the whole chapter 1. Then in order to cultivate the actual bodhicitta, the awakening mind or the mind of enlightenment, now there are two things we must do. We must get rid of the adverse conditions or unfavorable conditions, otherwise they prevent us from cultivating bodhicitta, the obstacles, all of that. And we need to cultivate merit, favorable conditions in order to cultivate enhanced bodhicitta. Those are the two things we must do. So for those reasons, chapter number 2 deals with disclosure of negativity. Right? In order to cultivate bodhicitta, we have to purify our mind of negativities and obscurations. So getting rid of the unfavorable conditions, if you will. Now that's not enough, because we need to accumulate merit to be able to cultivate bodhicitta. So the chapter number 3 deals with full acceptance of the awakening mind, right? How to generate the awakening mind, because that is greatly a meritorious thing to do. And then the chapter 4 deals with Tibetan called Pagyu, here translated as conscientiousness. That's how I translate it mostly so far. Now the new translation is heatfulness. How can we be heatful of all the things we do? And as Geshe explained, that is required for us to be able to do anything positive. If we are heatful of our mindset and action, then we are likely to be doing the right thing and the positive thing, And so that's how the chapters align, in terms of presenting bodhicitta. No.
Oh, that Shantideva, that Shantideva, Chindu Geshe, Java Nyamsalen to Shantideva Gone, Sidim La Lobju Lu ngabe dongsa ji da suwa so paji chima shi suwa liu so liu shi rinpa dongsi da lu su geza nam xie na dongye se lo zhong zu se ngowe cheba de xie ne se da be liu jibe jiba la lu zu den no se da di ya 就是说呀，就像我是讲到这，我听了，其他现在的嘛，现在当然接到朋友有些，他听的嘛，现在新中录制的，他新中录制可能些，听的说话的，那写了的3.6左右是吧？第个也做啥的，写了6做啥的，那就是我的是吧？这我的路就刚刚的我也打这个他我的呗，暑假什么的，我第一些的，那。 他这个理解这个发现呢，就是我觉得吧，学长是吧，印象是，稍微是他就印呢，学长的吧，这个按着是多，我的是他学的吧，这个说不起，学长的吧，这按是想要东西的，第哪来那他就是用作动作的意思。
Yes. So as we said, this actual body of the text is presented in a general sense under 3 outlines, right? The introduction, body, and the conclusion, or virtuous beginning, virtuous middle, virtuous end, right? Whichever we want to take. But in terms of specific presentation, then we deal with, how this text has 10 chapters, and each chapter deals with particular theme practice, if you will. Okay, and the chapter 5 deals with guarding alertness or mindfulness. In other words, this chapter deals with the practice of ethics or morality, Shila Paramita here, because we need mindfulness to be able to, practice ethics. And then the chapter 6, patience, perfection of patience. Chapter 7, perfection of enthusiastic perseverance. Chapter 8, practice of perfection of concentration, or here translated meditation. Chapter 9 is the perfection of wisdom, and then the chapter 10 is a dedication chapter, very extensive one, because once we have practiced all of those things, then how can we dedicate our roots of virtue of the 3 times, our body and resources for the benefit of all beings. So the chapter 10 deals with the dedication, dedication practice. So in terms of presenting the specific topics, they included in, like say, the benefits of awakening mind, and then to get rid of the unfavorable conditions, do the confession of negativities, to accumulate the favorable conditions, cultivate and hold the mind of bodhicitta, and then to be able to engage in the practice of abandonment and cultivation, we should be heedful, right? And the remaining practice is to do with the remaining 6 perfections. Okay, so those are the 4 or the 5 outlines under which the specific things are presented.
That is the English. That is English. That is English. Changing symptoms, my Japan, Japan, who the power should chase Monje, you don't deny. Shirika, Sheva, Lama Jenny, Sung Jin base, Titter Sheva last. What did that cause it? So she is the Hitchers and Dawson, and this was what the Titter is or charging symptoms. The Doy says she is what did he just say? What did he just say? That cause she had the charging symptoms, what she was so to driving a here to take our cause contact. More did you go to charging save the Yamaja jail, could be pessimism. What here? Tonda Dior was at the shit of the mute or tell me. Any she is. But the Lama J said what that day is a Karsa. The Zapadus was him. Zapadus did that did was the Lama Zapadus was there. Said Zapadus was she said that those shares songs. It did not hear the she is over.
And he said, following the words of my guru, the here guru referring to the great master Zapatu Rinpoche, what he said is that referring to that one stanza, I think that stanza is quoted from a sutra, and the stanza says, "Changju Semjo Rinpoche, the precious mind of enlightened man, Maje Panam Kyejuji, where I have not generated it, may I be able to generate it. Kyeba Nyamba Mebayang, where I have generated it, may it never decline. Kong the Pevasha, may I be able to enhance it more and more to the infinite," right? So that one stanza is the kind of almost like the root text for dealing with Bodhisattva's way of life. And so according to the words of my guru, meaning Zapatu Rinpoche. And of course, when I deal with bodhicitta, I have also explained generosity, morality, patience, enthusiasm. But all of these perfections are explained just either directly, explicitly, or implicitly. Explicitly is and implicit shuk. Through that, that we can cultivate bodhicitta that we have not yet cultivated, and keep it without declining and enhance it to the great extent possible. Okay.
Kunzo Donda Bishari number Nibo, Rongula Jeva Karsa, Rongula, Nibo Rongula, Majeba Jeva, Karsa, Yibo Rongula, Majepa, Jeva Shevi, Lusum, Jeva Majeba Shevi, Lusum, Ti Yukone, Konu Kondi Pashi, Lusum, Teda Pevi Jibu, Shindo de Goato. Mono shewe liu chekde, liu chu saji shi go de shewa yin la si. Oda goche jatang zhub ti she, chauji se ma jeba jeba shi, jeba minjeba shi, jisi kong kong pe, ti som na mandu yo mara, o ti ta ti nang so li se da, tangpo so se, tangi zhuya dikya zi she, enda pa tu chi lu so de yang le liu som zi, ka chi liu chu yo rwa. O ti goche tuk she di chek yin se wada. Ngoado molum de liu chu saji jingguo ni xiewa yin la shi, xie da liu chu, kaji kata ye ba de jusa pa guoxia nangxi de dong shi de liu chu guo ni xie yi shi.
Yes. So another way of classifying or presenting this text is, of course, this text contains 10 chapters. And each chapter deals with a particular theme practice relating to bodhicitta development and Bodhisattva's way of life. And so this presentation can be done under 4 outlines, if you will. We can say there are 3 chapters here that deal with how to cultivate bodhicitta that you have not yet cultivated. You have not yet generated, or we have not yet generated. And then 3 chapters, once we have generated or cultivated bodhicitta, right, and how can we keep it without declining, keep it not from declining, right? And then there are 3 chapters that help us to be able to enhance or further bodhicitta. So we got 9 chapters already, right? And then the last chapter is to do with prayers and dedications, right? So under those 4 outlines, we can present all these 10 chapters of a guide to Bodhisattva's way of life.
Dikha liu xie, xiaoju sim yong su liu xie yu duo, wo di som de. Wo di som de tong de xiaoju sim rinpo xie, yu le jie wa xie wa xie liu som xie. Tong de xiaoju sim rin duo di, de cek de pi xie do na de tong de xiaoju sim xie. Ri ge de gun zhe xiaoju sim是吧？我是知道别人的是同代表xiaoju sim xie，那同时是有些吧是吧？你的同代表xiaoju sim xie的 타니를 견다시 자샤 거기 이 통다 봤으면 도도 생기 세야지 말이 군도 생기 코로나를 와 그래서 군도 생기 코로나를 가지 맞아지면 다 어디서 손이 시기 인스 시기 인스 다티 당벌라양 손데서 배우流血 내샤 流血 상승 용성 流送 我的流送里的这这手术生阶段的这个时候的话可是错修啥过的是错下你下是不是过的是现在这个手术生马上过你呀而且培养的对象主要些现在对象培养到老上做嘛是就现在手术生的要我这个有什么了吧现在这里而且手术生培养这些在这个老上手术生的呀长中马上些地方是那的错的诸多那人现在是甚至小个就是喜欢的小个想多我只是找的现在给嘛学界的所以的家里人些的小学生多嘛不就甚至小个喜欢啥现在小个啥的学界中到吧甚至个些什么都送的啥你看这边是错啥呀嘛这是千万不能是看这这个是所以他用着就是他嘛是他知道老朋嘛是他想什么是啥
好了学不当了什么经就So as Geshe explained that the first 3 chapters, chapter 1 to 3, chapter 1 is the benefits of bodhicitta, awakening mind. Chapter 2 is the confession of negativities or disclosure of evil, translated here. Chapter 3 is generating and holding awakening mind, called full acceptance awakening mind. So these 3 chapters deal with generating bodhicitta, how to, right? And what this tells us is that, as Geshe emphasized, that in order to cultivate bodhicitta, we have to purify, negativities and accumulate a lot of merit. If we rush into the practice without doing those 2 things, it is rather very difficult to generate bodhicitta. And so for that reason, before we actually take the Bodhisattva vows, we take time to engage in purification practice and accumulation practice so that we are more prepared to take the Bodhisattva vows. That is the way to do it, and that's why referring to the great Lamrim tradition where, before we do this, what called Semgye, generating mind, there's a tradition of making very extensive offering, right? And then we can conduct the bodhicitta ceremony and generate it. That's the reason for that, because we need to accumulate a lot of merit to generate bodhicitta and purify a lot of negativities for that reason. So Geshe tells this anecdotal story about when great Indian master Dibamkar Shrijan Adisha visited Tibet, right? His main disciple was the layperson Domtemba Upasaka. So one time, I think they arranged for generating bodhicitta ceremony, and there were some offerings being made, and then great Adisha came and he conducted it, right? Then after the ceremony, great Adisha told Domtemba, nobody generated bodhicitta today. And then Domtemba like, what do you mean? Nobody generated. He said, well, there hasn't been enough offerings being made, right? Because the offerings were limited, not made very extensively or maybe purely. And then Domtemba said, okay, so why don't we redo it, right? We'll do extensive offering and redo it. And then Adisha said, no, let's not make this. I think sponsors will not be happy, just let it be now, right? And that's, anecdotal story telling us that when we generated bodhicitta, right, we make the best and pure offerings that we could extensively to accumulate a lot of merit and purify our negativities so that generating bodhicitta becomes possible,
我这是做要啥事，我这能去，那么恐怕送出这多，可是说是别叫送家几当过谁多，但现在这些只有的。
那是啊。
现在土落做讲给这些呢，因为土落的别吹啊开球，所以讲的吹啊也是，因吹啊开球也是。
那是。
这差不多是要不最想呢，最可能我讲个的，但小了么讲说那个做所谓我就在说。
那是。
可差不多的呢。因此讲的开始常常是呢，的 거쳐 고토
No, so.
어디 쏘사야 디바샤야 디지무징에 리지무징
No, so. So Geshe is smilingly sending us this, I think, strong message that we really need to, do our best to purify negativities and accumulate as much merit as possible, so that it becomes possible for us to generate bodhicitta. Otherwise, if we fall short in our purification and accumulation practice, even if we engage in bodhicitta ceremony, something like that, we may not generate it. And so he said that, our masters, some of them have saying that when you make offering, right, out of your pure heart, you should at least make 1/3 of your income, whatever you have, dedicate that to the offering, and so that is the kind of advice they would give us. And also the example given here is those who are expert in the coloring, dyeing clothes with colors, right? They know that they must wash the cloth very clean. Then whatever color you put on it, it's going to catch the dye, isn't it? If the cloth is not washed and you rush to dye it, then the color is not going to kind of sit well, right? So like that, if we don't purify our negativities well, then generating bodhicitta is like this dyeing color. It won't catch the color well, right, so to speak. So we have to do our best in terms of purification and accumulation practices.
Well, this is that 小学生这个生不用送留是底下这些，他们朋友留，他们你留兄留亲，是的，啥原因的？留兄是留兄过来，他那些，也就是留亲的个些，可是留着啥原因嘛都要么的。
No, so.
他们留兄是的过来，留的他那嘛些，啥的经常些。
No.
那个亲留开的那是什么什么开的在意思？我听过是啥原因了，对不对？
No, so.
我听得他们的留兄是的用着，得了小就开始，这当我认识开始，小就是生计得把朋友我说是，我到啥时候他们的小就生计下来的，但是那。得把朋友开始，得把朋友我说是，他得了得别，身边得了得小时身边，得小时身边朋友的时候，是得把朋友我说是，我听不着。你想开始，他们那在天上的呢，他真的天上给他，我是他天上的现在也不干，现在我做是吧？我的长寿身边他旅店那个，我是天上的现在也不干，现在说了个这个。 知道小学生接完的，因为天主这边做的我嘛的问题，那得看见他小学生多把手的看见，什么接呢？那这把线路了老头呀，天这个电了些呢，电不是说我这不行，那他，那天主电过过是吧？我第一上山，那天主电现在也把干些小路干这个绿电电，那其他。 什么没那这种是啊，小那个这个身边电，可是小那个你这个小日是绿电的身边你电个这啥？
So chapter 1, the actual body of the text begins with stanza number 4 on page number 4, right on the top. Leisures and endowments are very hard to find. That stanza. Actually, each chapter is presented under two main outlines. What's the theme practice of that chapter, theme, and its name or the title. Right, in Tibetan, my footnote, the title comes at the end of the chapter, not in the beginning, because in English it's already said the benefits of, right, but that comes at the end in Tibetan anyway. Footnote closed. So the actual topic or the theme, shung we call, it is presented under two, what we call 10 bases for developing bodhicitta and the actual benefits of bodhicitta. So the basis consists of two things, physical basis and mental basis. Stanza number 4, leisures and endowments are very hard to find. That stanza deals with the physical basis that's very suitable for developing bodhicitta. As Geshe said, it's not only the human life basis upon which bodhicitta can be generated, it could be generated on some other basis. But when we think in terms of taking or receiving bodhisattva vows and wishing to engage in the 6 perfections, then this fully endowed human form or precious human life is a must, right? So it is that suitable physical basis for developing bodhicitta. The next stanza number 5, just as a flash of lightning on a dark cloudy night, that stanza highlights the mental basis or the mindset, for generating bodhicitta. So we are dealing with stanza number 4. Leisures and endowments are very hard to find, and so forth. And here we are talking about what we call precious human life, to be symbol, or fully endowed human form, Daljor in Tibetan, which means that it's not just a human life, but it's a human life characterized by 8 freedoms and 10 enriching factors, 18 wonderful qualities. So that kind of a precious human life or fully endowed human form. Now that kind of a life is very difficult to find. Okay? How so? Now that's explained from 4 different perspectives, if you will, angles. First one is from causal point of view, cause and effect. From causal point of view, how difficult it is to find a fully endowed human form. Because in order to achieve this kind of precious human life, we must abide by pure ethics, right? And we should also practice a perfection such as giving, and we should have made a pure dedication of our merit. Without these causes, it's very difficult to find this kind of human life. Okay? And so if we, let's say theoretically, if we do not abide by any pure ethics, there is no chance to find a precious human life. And we know how difficult it is to observe pure ethics, right? So even if we observe pure ethics, we may be reborn as a human being, but if we did not practice generosity and other things, we may become a very poor human being, right? Now we will not be able to have all the facilities to be able to engage in practice. So we need to, conjoin our pure ethics with other practices such as generosity, and then we should have made pure dedication of the merit. So from that point of view, from causal point of view, you can see how difficult it is to find this kind of precious human life that we have right now. Now from a resultant point of view, because this life has so many wonderful qualities, and it's very rare life. Buddha once said that when we think of sentient beings who die, in the good states of existence and go into the bad states of migration existence, Buddha just said there are as many as the dust particles on the earth. So that many. And then he said those who really come out of bad migrations and find a good migration, there are as few as the dust he picked up on the tip of his finger. He said this is how many. So therefore, that also exemplifies how wonderful this precious human life is from resultant point of view. Okay. Now from exemplary point of view, it's very difficult. As we talked about this example last time, it is a made up example. It doesn't exist in reality, but the example is, among many, imagine that there is a blind turtle underneath the sea or the ocean, right? And that blind turtle surfaces once in 100 years. There is a wooden yoke with a hole in the center floating on the surface of the ocean. What is the chance of this blind turtle that surfaces once in 100 years to get its neck through the yoke hole, isn't it? That seems to be almost impossible, isn't it? Very rare. So as rare as that thing happening is this precious human life that we have found, that we have right now. So from exemplary point of view also, we can appreciate the rarity of this human life, how difficult it is to find this. And then the last one is from statistical point of view, so to speak, in terms of numbers, right? Numbers speak, we know, right? And as Geshe said, when we compare the numbers of 6 types of sentient beings, the biggest population of sentient beings are in the hell. So hell beings are, right, the biggest population, sentient being. Next one would be pretas, hungry ghosts. Then animals, right? And then divine, little g gods, divine beings, or we call devtas and devis, and then human beings and so forth, right? And so as Geshe said, maybe we get sense of this. How many human beings we said in the world? 7 billion or a little more, right? So that's a big number, we think. Now compared to the ants that crawl like anywhere, the 7 billion is nothing. There could be many trillions of ants, right, in one location. So imagine that, comparing the number of human beings to the ants, trillions. So really we can see how rare it is to be a human being, So we will stop there today and we welcome your questions. Tiwata. Yang arale Tiwachirda Kazanyamak. Tiwachal la Sonya, the Shenamada. Can Tiwachi should do?
Yes.
If the first 3 chapters are about the initial generation of bodhicitta, why does Shantideva present the method of exchanging self for others for developing bodhicitta in the chapter of concentration after having already explained 4 of the 6 perfections? Okay, very clear questions. I have no problem translating it as it is to Geshe-la. Kandi di shuguduke, ta tanda kengi di kanam ruwa nganzo liu tangbo sumde ruwa ke, chanju sem maje wal kye shido ruwa ke, sung sum ruwa ke. Ninda yinba yinasa, ane kese shiwa lagi tanda di ruwa ke, tanda samdengi liu ruwa ke. Di nang liya ane chanju sem ngus ke, takshen nyamche di sung shasa ruwa ke. Di ngen liya ane kalso gore chindu shi sung sa shasa ruwa ke. Di kari yinba yinasa ruwa ke. Tabana tanda liu tangbo sumdi ke semge che de ina ruwa ge ani takshen nyamje che ruwa di mas mege tanda kalso samdengi liu kal sung sha ruwa ge an di nge la samden liu nge ne yang kalso gore chindu khashi she sa sha ruwa ge chindu khashi ji samdengi le she sa sha ruwa ge odi kare imba ina so la kimse
de se khoji khada tanda chorsi jiwa juba se de ti shagoro kharsa the Juba was a Dubeche or Tribeche was a Tosi Gojata. So the Juba was a Tomato Kungi Yawas in Jura. No, so soldiers some goes at the soldiers of Shego. No, so it is also Tamoshia Terra. No, so that is Sheva lightning famous share the Coronji down to Tanshito. No, that's something little she had that she yamjed said the tone any pig Gumiate, Shine Gumiate, the car. Shine Gumiate.
Takshen nyamje de ke
shine jiwo marda chila zongji re ta la zong gong go ro
alo no so alo takshen nyamde noske. So Geshe-la's explanation is this that the first 3 chapters are really helping us to engage in the cultivating bodhicitta. Right, because we want to know the benefits. What do I get out of it, or so to speak, right? And what are the things I must do in order to have it? So that's what we call jugwa, means to engage in the bodhisattva development. So we want to know the benefits. We want to know about the purification of negativities. We want to know about accumulating merit, right? Things like holding the bodhicitta mind. What is explained in the chapter on concentration, right? We talk about equalizing, exchanging self for others, but that's more related to the development. That chapter is to do with cultivating shamatha and vipassana, or calm abiding and penetrative insight. So the emphasis is, I think, different in this text. That's what Geshe is trying to get across. Okay. I have a question from last week. I think somebody reminded me, so let me ask Geshe that. Kazangema tundangema dene ke chiwaji manzo chasan tang do ge di condition shows ke chiwa de ya ning什么是多呢是可能是 okay. So bear with me, I'm trying to find that question. Oh, here. This again, konzo chigirwa. Mora pugu chunju yisarwa again, da lo chubdan de rwa again. And pugu chunju dezoli ya da tanda di changju simgi kongo chigirwa again. Di motor re chebe na kande re chegore sa ta di ngone chuzen shibu kenyu dus gorwa again. In the pugu lo motor china kare chego sa jara. Kendi ale chiwa di shu shengirwa again. The question from last week, I think this is after teaching was over or something we saw. It says, how can I introduce my teenage children to this philosophy? Okay, how can I introduce my teenage children to this philosophy? I think to this way of life of bodhisattvas. They don't go to Chevin. That Lord Chuban is again.
Well, no, the Masis.
No,
Muslim, Papendros, no, that is your Maris.
no, so.
And Jones, never say your Maris.
No,
Or today is my day.
no, so. For teenagers, Geshe thought that maybe the way to introduce this philosophy, way of life of Bodhisattva is just tell them that they should not do anything harmful to others, don't hurt others, and and if they could help others, do that. So even if they couldn't help others, just don't harm them. Maybe that's the way to introduce children. Okay. So I'm looking down. There's no more questions here. So. Kange Lode, Dimnyan Tende, Ninda, Nanda, Razebe, Chinyan Dungo, Geshe Seje, Nije Toga, Kanda Zebe, Zera Mare, Mendon Dunge, Gesebe, Dozo Kuna, Buji, Yala Doje, Yanden Zon, Doda, Cheto, Nyemo, Nyelo, Leye Jalo, Mare Muse Dunge, Nyogo, Jinye, Junze, Rajena, Denen, Daje, Sajo. Tüve Gu Juda Juda Junyi Yenden Dalu Münze Jambe Yanglan de Om Arabazana Om Arabazana Om Arabazana de Zende Hyeje Jara Veze Dalu Timo Memba Kada Denje Shunglo Toba Ye Lode Sendo Lode Gyeltsen Yunung Bewa De Gyeltsen Pongwe Judong Minpa Shin Tenpa Shin La Wando Danyin Chukwen Jala Sowa De Changju Simcho Rinpoche Ma Kye Pana Kyewa Nyamba Meba Yang Kone Kondo Pewa Sho Tonyi Tawa Rinpoche Ma Kye Pana Kone Kondo Pewa Sho Konda De Yang Tiwa Chik Tang Dwa Gen Di Shu Shu Shoshi Tiwa Chik Do. One question appeared, so I have to stop my dedication and ask that. Why is wisdom taught at the end when it is necessary for the perfection of giving, ethics, and etc.? So, that again, share up your again. Share up the part of the chamber day and it's chimbata, sitting loss of a kanga kugu or once again. Reza and this are Liu Kuba, but make sure the watch a shasha Karichevina again. Nian Masun is over again. Share up the Dutch chimba, the sitting the kanga kugu or was again. We all the shash and the culture sort.
What is in the Tetsuata?
Tamade, Tamaniba, Kuba again.
Ribbon, passing to chill the tissue. No one remember too much of a short. No,
no.
The here did that songs in the tower on the What is it called?
Question about the in again, Yale Mashaka in some ways, or short and Yale Mashaka in some ways.
Nearly that quite again.
I'll tap the one.
I'll
let
the shut out on the songs. Such a show cause is soon. Don't you know a share of thousand Mondo show almost?
No.
Geshe
thinks the reason why the perfection of wisdom is presented in chapter 9 towards the end is because when we look at the 6 perfections, from the perfection of generosity, Dan Paramita, to the perfection of wisdom, Gyan Paramita, as it is said that the first 5 perfections are taught for the sake of the perfection of wisdom. As it is said that Buddha has taught everything, that either explicitly, implicitly, his teaching is meant for generating the perfection of wisdom. So that is the most important perfection, so to speak, right? That cuts through our delusions. But to be able to get there, to cultivate it, we need to practice the other perfections first. So all these other perfections are called auxiliary practices for generating the perfection of wisdom. So that's why I think Geshe feels that it is presented towards the end. Okay, so mandala offering. Sa shi bi jin ju jin men do zhang ri ra lin shi yin de yan ba de sang ye xin do me de wu wa lu wen nang da jin lan zhe ba shou kan ri ra wei guo wei xin gam de pen dang de wa ma lu zhong xian le zi wang tenzin dorjee xia wei si de ba do den ju ji yi dang gu ru ra na men de la 了明结瓦滚多养大拉满等对面确界别拉龙节节萨达龙节云的了罗节上给国巴牛头